that Mike's impression of Lorne was based on your impression of Lorne, and he took it and used it as Dr. Evil. And it bugged you a little bit, right? Because you were the one who figured out how to do Lorne.
When I started there, no one did Lorne.
Once the unstoppable duo behind Wayne's World, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, had audiences crying with laughter and begging for more. But behind the iconic sketches and legendary catchphrases, tension was brewing, real bitter tension. Now, years later, the truth is out. These comedy giants are no longer friends, not even close. So what exactly tore them apart? Was it ego, betrayal, or something far deeper? In this video, we dive into the untold story of a fractured friendship Hollywood never saw coming. You won't believe how it all unfolded. Why Dana Carvey missed the SNL 50th anniversary special. When the iconic 50th anniversary celebration of Saturday Night Live, SNL, aired live from Studio 8H, fans expected to see a flood of familiar faces, legends who helped shape the show into what it is today. And indeed, the star-studded night delivered, with a parade of past and present cast members taking the stage to relive some of the most unforgettable moments in sketch comedy history. But for many longtime viewers, one big name was noticeably absent: Dana Carvey. The 69-year-old comedian, a household name thanks to his years on SNL and his famous impersonations, was nowhere to be seen. His absence sparked a wave of surprise and questions. Why would Carvey, a beloved veteran of the show and someone who's made recent appearances, skip such a monumental event? After all, Carvey wasn't just any cast member. From 1986 to 1993, he lit up the SNL stage with characters like the Church Lady, Garth Algar, alongside Mike Myers in the legendary Wayne's World sketches, and his hilariously exaggerated impressions of political figures like George H.W. Bush. For fans of the show, Carvey's comedic genius was a defining part of late 80s and early 90s SNL. So, when he didn't appear at the 50th anniversary special, fans were puzzled. Speculation spread quickly across social media. Was it a scheduling conflict, a personal decision, or had something more serious happened? The mystery was finally cleared up when a representative for Carvey shared the truth. He had caught the flu and was too unwell to travel. In fact, he was so sick that he couldn't fly to New York for the live show. The confirmation came via the New York Post. And while fans were relieved that there wasn't a more alarming reason behind his absence, they were still disappointed. This was especially surprising given Carvey's recent involvement with SNL. Just a few months earlier, in September, he had returned to the show for the season 50 premiere. Yes, the very same season being celebrated. He took the stage with his signature energy to impersonate President Joe Biden, who, at 82, is currently seeking re-election. Alongside Maya Rudolph, who reprised her role as Vice President Kamala Harris, Carvey dove into a sketch that brought his comedic timing and political satire back into the spotlight. The chemistry between the two comedians made it feel like old times, and viewers were thrilled to see Carvey once again flexing the skills that made him famous. He didn't stop there. Dana Carvey continued to make appearances on SNL throughout the election season, popping in with timely sketches that poked fun at the political drama of 2024. His return was a pleasant surprise for many fans who thought they'd seen the last of him in sketches years ago, which is why his absence from the 50th anniversary episode felt so unexpected. This was, after all, a celebration of the show's legacy, and Carvey is undoubtedly a key part of that legacy. From his Bush impressions to his unforgettable original characters, he helped shape the golden era of SNL and influenced countless comedians who came after him. Still, the news of his illness puts everything into perspective. The flu, while common, can hit hard, especially for someone approaching 70. Traveling cross-country to perform live under bright lights and high expectations is no small feat, even when you're feeling great. Doing it while battling a fever and body aches? Practically impossible. Fans and fellow cast members alike shared their well wishes and hopes for his speedy recovery. Even in his absence, Carvey's influence was deeply felt during the celebration. Clips of his classic sketches were featured in several highlight reels throughout the night, drawing laughs and nostalgic smiles from the audience. Though he missed the big night, there's no doubt Dana Carvey's place in the SNL Hall of Fame remains secure. The flu may have grounded him this time, but his legacy still soars. And who knows, once he's fully recovered, we just might see him back on that famous stage again, ready to deliver another spot-on impression, another wild character, and another reminder of why we fell in love with SNL in the first place. For now, fans can only wait, re-watch his greatest hits, and hope that the church lady, Garth, or Joe Biden himself will make one more surprise appearance soon. After all, with Dana Carvey, you never know what might happen next. Could Dana Carvey's excuse of having flu be genuine or just a cover-up? Could his fractured relationship with Mike Myers be the actual reason behind his unexpected absence? Let's delve into the details of the unspoken rift between the duo. The pinky, the pain, and the unspoken rift. Long before Wayne's World or the funky days of Austin Powers, comedian Dana Carvey had a hidden gem in his back pocket, a hilarious, spot-on impression of SNL's famously peculiar boss, Lorne Michaels. It wasn't part of his stage routine. It wasn't meant for the cameras. It was a backstage treat, a private joke among the SNL cast members used to lighten the mood during long, exhausting rehearsals. Carvey's take on Michaels was nothing short of brilliant. He nailed the slow, deliberate way Michaels spoke, the weirdly timed pauses, the soft-spoken authority, the slightly condescending tone. And to top it off, Carvey added a ridiculous twist of his own, a pinky finger lifted to the lips, an absurd but hilarious touch that made everyone crack up. It was pure Carvey, crafted in the shadows, known only to those in the SNL family. Among those who laughed hardest, Mike Myers. Back then, they were colleagues and friends, sharing laughs behind the scenes. The impression wasn't just an inside joke, it was Carvey's inside joke. A tiny piece of comedic gold he never performed publicly, never claimed as a trademark, but that everyone at SNL knew he had created. Then life moved on. Myers left SNL and shot into Hollywood stardom, and in 1997, the world was introduced to Austin Powers, international man of mystery. Audiences loved the wacky British spy and his bizarre bald nemesis, Dr. Evil. The film became a massive hit. Sequels followed. Merchandising boomed. Dr. Evil became iconic. But as Carvey watched the movie, something felt off. The voice, the tone, the slow delivery, the pinky to the lips. It was all too familiar. It was his Lorne Michaels impression, just dressed up in a villain's costume, broadcast to the world without a whisper of credit. Carvey was stunned. But what could he do? Call out a former castmate for stealing an impression of a boss they both knew? It would seem petty, like professional jealousy. And in the entertainment world, such accusations can backfire. So Carvey did the only thing he felt he could. He kept quiet. For years. But silence doesn't erase hurt. The disappointment stayed with him, quietly simmering beneath the surface. He never made a public scene, but he never forgot. Then, in 2016, during an interview on The Howard Stern Show, the truth finally peeked out. Stern, known for going straight for the jugular, asked the question out loud. Was Dr. Evil based on your impression of Lorne Michaels? Carvey paused. He didn't lash out, but he didn't deny it either. With a wistful smile and a half-laugh, he admitted, I did kind of go. There was humor in his voice, but also something else. A hint of sadness. A wound that hadn't quite healed. We never really talked about it, he said. I talked about it in therapy, though. That one word, therapy, spoke volumes. This wasn't just a joke gone wrong. It was personal. Carvey had poured part of himself into that impression. To see it explode on the big screen, become a cultural phenomenon, and never be acknowledged for it, that hurt in a way only fellow creators can understand. He added something else, too. Something humble, even generous. Once an impression is out there, anyone can imitate it. That's how comedy works. It spreads, it mutates, it gets borrowed, but deep inside, he knew the truth. The seed of Dr. Evil was planted during those quiet, laughter-filled SNL rehearsals, and it had been his seed. The pain wasn't really about the voice or the gestures. It was about feeling invisible, about watching someone else take a private, shared moment and build an empire on it without even a nod in his direction. As for Myers, he's never spoken about it publicly. Known for being intensely private, he tends to keep things close to the chest. He hasn't confirmed or denied. Maybe he just moved on. Maybe he didn't even realize the wound he left behind. But for Carvey, the silence said it all. Not the pinky, not the parody, but the absence of a simple, human moment. "Hey, man, I got this from you. Thank you." Sometimes that's all it would have taken. So, was there any reconciliation after the rift? Was there any sober feeling? Let's find out what happened after the rift. Reunions, regret, and the reality behind the laughs. Time moved on. Slowly at first, then all at once. Once upon a time, they were comedy royalty. Two friends who made the world laugh with their wild wigs, air guitars, and iconic catchphrases. Dana Carvey and Mike Myers, the dynamic duo behind Wayne's World, ruled sketch comedy like few others had. They were magic together. Then, they just weren't. There wasn't a big fight. No tabloid headlines, no explosive interviews or bitter feuds. Instead, they simply drifted apart, quietly, gradually. One moment, they were everywhere together. The next, they were barely in the same room, living entirely different lives. Not enemies, just absent. That kind of silence that says more than words ever could. Then came an unexpected twist. In 2019, the producers of the Oscars wanted a hit of nostalgia, something familiar and comforting. What better way than to bring back Wayne and Garth? Carvey and Myers agreed. No drama, no hesitation. Backstage, they slipped into their old costumes, put on the wigs, picked up the guitars, and for a few minutes, they stepped back in time. For the audience, it was a treat, a reminder of the good old days. For the two men, it was something, not quite magic, not quite awkward, a faint flicker of what once was. Enough of a spark for Carvey to later say, "It was very nice. We've had a long friendship." Had, not have. Just one word, but it carried a world of meaning. A soft goodbye buried in a past tense sentence. Then, in 2021, they reunited again, this time in a Super Bowl commercial for Uber Eats. It was silly, lighthearted, and delightfully strange. Even Cardi B joined in. The fans laughed. The nostalgia worked. But behind the humor, something else stood out. This was the longest the two had spent together in years. Carvey, ever the optimist, spoke about it in a hopeful way. In interviews, he mentioned coming full circle. He talked about history, about reconnecting, about how time has a way of healing. "We've become very, very close friends," he said. But if you listened carefully, you could hear the hesitation. The way he paused before the word friends. The way every cherished moment he described came wrapped in past tense. As if he were reminiscing about a friendship that had already ended, even as he tried to believe it could begin again. Mike Myers, on the other hand, said nothing. He's always been more private, some say mysterious. He disappears from the spotlight for years, controls his projects tightly, and keeps his personal life tightly locked. While Carvey opened the door just a little, Myers kept his firmly shut. Maybe that's just his nature. Maybe he's not wired for lifelong closeness, not even with someone he once laughed beside on stage and screen. And maybe, finally, Carvey has stopped waiting. These days, they're polite. They smile for the camera, share a joke, slip back into their characters with ease. But when the cameras stop rolling and the crowd goes home, so do they. Separately. Best friends? Not quite. Maybe not even friends anymore. It's a quiet kind of heartbreak. Not the loud kind you shout about. The soft kind that lingers quietly in the background. The kind that comes when fame, pride, and years of unspoken tension build walls too tall to climb. Some friendships don't break. They fade. They get frozen in time, preserved in old reruns, fan art, and Halloween costumes. They live on in memories, not in moments. They gave us joy, They made us laugh until we couldn't breathe. But behind the laughter was something messier, a relationship shaped by rivalry, misunderstandings, and things neither of them ever fully said aloud. So here's the lingering question. Was it just creative tension? Two artists pulling in different directions? Or was there something deeper? A moment, a wound, a word, a silence, so personal, so painful, that no reunion, no nostalgia trip, not even the brightest spotlight, could ever truly fix it. Let's drift a little away from the fractured friendship and focus more on each of the duo. Who is that man that made America laugh for decades? Here he is. Dana Carvey, the man who made America laugh for decades. Born on June 2, 1955, Dana Thomas Carvey is a beloved American entertainer whose name has become almost synonymous with comedy. Over the years, he has worn many hats: stand-up comedian, actor, podcast host, screenwriter, and producer. But no matter what role he takes on, one thing is certain: Dana Carvey knows how to make people laugh. Carvey rose to fame through one of the most legendary platforms in American comedy, Saturday Night Live, SNL. Joining the cast in 1986, he stayed on the show for 7 unforgettable seasons, making millions of viewers laugh every weekend. His time on SNL, from 1986 to 1993, is considered one of the show's golden eras. During this time, Carvey earned 5 straight nominations for the prestigious Primetime Emmy Awards, a testament to his incredible talent and consistent performances. What made Carvey so special on SNL was his ability to completely transform into different characters. With his wide range of impressions, he brought to life political figures, quirky personalities, and everyday oddballs. His most famous SNL characters, like the church lady, Hans, from Hans and Franz, and Garth Algar, became pop culture icons. Years after he left the show, Carvey made a surprise return during the intense 2024 U.S. presidential election period. Once again, he reminded audiences why he's a master of impersonation. This time, he hilariously took on the role of outgoing President Joe Biden, capturing his voice and mannerisms with uncanny accuracy. But Carvey didn't stop there. He also impersonated the ever-controversial billionaire Elon Musk, portraying the tech mogul's eccentric behavior in a way that only Carvey could pull off. His return was both timely and nostalgic, a treat for longtime fans and a discovery for younger viewers who hadn't grown up with his earlier work. While SNL may have been where Dana Carvey made his biggest mark, his talents didn't stop at sketch comedy. He also built a solid film career, mainly in the world of comedy. In 1988, he starred in Moving, a hilarious story about the chaos that comes with relocating to a new home. 2 years later, he played the lead in Opportunity Knocks, 1990, where he portrayed a con man whose life takes unexpected twists and turns. His 1994 holiday crime comedy, Trapped in Paradise, showed off his knack for blending humor with heart in a story about 3 brothers caught in a series of misadventures. One of his most creative and unusual roles came in 2002 when he starred in The Master of Disguise. In this film, Carvey played a man with the ability to take on the appearance and mannerisms of others, a perfect fit for someone known for impersonations. While the movie received mixed reviews, it became a favorite among younger audiences and further proved that Carvey wasn't afraid to take comedic risks. Of course, no discussion about Dana Carvey is complete without mentioning Wayne's World. This movie was based on an SNL sketch about 2 lovable metalheads hosting a low-budget public access TV show. Carvey played Garth Algar, the sweet and shy best friend to Mike Myers' more outspoken Wayne. Their chemistry was electric, and Wayne's World became a massive hit in 1992. The success led to a sequel, Wayne's World 2, released in 1993. To this day, lines like "Party on Garth" remain etched in pop culture history. Even outside of television and film, Carvey has continued to find ways to connect with audiences. In recent years, he has embraced podcasting, where his sharp wit and thoughtful takes on modern life still shine. Through every stage of his career, from the big screen to the digital world, Dana Carvey has stayed relevant by evolving without losing his signature style. What makes Dana Carvey so fascinating isn't just his ability to do funny voices or wear silly costumes, it's the intelligence, timing, and heart behind everything he does. Whether he's poking fun at politicians, playing oddball characters, or reminiscing about life on the road as a comic, Carvey has always brought a genuine joy to his performances. In a career spanning decades, Dana Carvey has managed to entertain multiple generations with his humor. He's a rare mix of talent, humility, and genius-level comedic timing. While he may not always be in the spotlight, his influence can be seen in many comedians who followed in his footsteps. And as long as people keep laughing at the quirks of life, there will always be a place for Dana Carvey in the world of comedy. What about his ex-friend, the man behind laughs and legacy? Let's find out who Mike Myers is and what he stands for. Mike Myers, born on May 25, 1963 in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada, Michael John Myers, better known to the world as Mike Myers, has built a legacy as one of the most beloved comedic talents of his generation. Actor, comedian, writer, and filmmaker, Myers is the genius behind some of the most iconic characters and films in modern comedy. Over the years, his work has not only made millions of people laugh, but has also earned him some of the entertainment industry's highest honors. Mike's journey into the world of entertainment began in Canada, where he appeared on several local TV programs, slowly building his reputation as a sharp, witty performer. But it was when he joined the cast of Saturday Night Live, SNL, in 1989 that his star truly began to rise. For 6 unforgettable seasons, Myers showcased a wide range of characters, sketches, and impressions that quickly made him a fan favorite. One of his most famous creations, Wayne Campbell, a long-haired rock enthusiast from the suburbs, started as a skit on SNL before evolving into a full-fledged movie franchise. Wayne's World, in 1992, and its sequel in 1993, became instant cult classics, showing the world that Myers wasn't just funny, he was a creative force to be reckoned with. His success on SNL earned him a Primetime Emmy Award for outstanding writing, solidifying his place as one of the best in comedy writing. But Myers wasn't done yet. Far from it. He would go on to create even more unforgettable characters that would define an era of pop culture. In 1997, Myers introduced the world to the outlandish, eccentric, and hilariously British secret agent Austin Powers. With his groovy catchphrases, vintage fashion, and over-the-top villains, also played by Myers, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, became a surprise hit. 2 sequels followed, The Spy Who Shagged Me in 1999 and Goldmember in 2002, each bigger and bolder than the last. Myers didn't just play one role in these movies, he portrayed multiple characters, including the infamous Dr. Evil and the lovable Fat Bastard, showcasing his incredible range and creativity. The Austin Powers trilogy proved that Mike wasn't just a funny guy. He was a master of transformation and imagination. But perhaps Myers' most universally loved role came in 2001, when he lent his voice to Shrek, the big green ogre with a Scottish accent and a heart of gold. The movie was a game-changer in the world of animation, blending fairy tale magic with modern-day wit. Audiences around the world connected with Shrek's story of love, acceptance, and inner beauty. The franchise went on to become one of the most successful animated series of all time, and Myers' performance played a huge part in that success. To this day, children and adults alike still quote Shrek's lines and laugh at the ogre's grumpy charm. In 2003, Myers took on the whimsical world of Dr. Seuss by playing the mischievous and chaotic Cat in the Hat in the live-action film adaptation. While the movie received mixed reviews, it once again showed Myers' willingness to take creative risks and dive into bold, colorful roles. As the years went on, Myers took a step back from the spotlight, appearing less frequently on screen throughout the 2010s. However, He did make memorable appearances in films like Terminal and the Queen biopic Bohemian Rhapsody, both released in 2018. In Bohemian Rhapsody, he played a music executive with a surprising twist, a sly nod to his Wayne's World roots, and the iconic Queen song Bohemian Rhapsody, which featured prominently in the 1992 film. Not just a performer, Myers made his directorial debut with the 2013 documentary Supermensch, The Legend of Shep Gordon, a heartfelt and inspiring film about one of Hollywood's most beloved talent managers. The documentary premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival and received praise for its warm storytelling and personal touch. In 2022, Mike returned to the small screen with The Pentaverite, a quirky Netflix series that he created and starred in. True to his style, Myers played multiple roles, blending comedy, mystery, and satire into a uniquely entertaining show. That same year, he also appeared in Amsterdam, a comedy thriller directed by David O. Russell, reminding audiences that he still had the charm and chops to steal the screen. Over the course of his career, Myers has collected an impressive list of awards and honors. He has won 7 MTV Movie and TV Awards, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and of course, the Primetime Emmy. In 2002, he was immortalized with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a testament to the joy he brought to audiences. And in 2017, his homeland recognized his contributions by naming him an Officer of the Order of Canada, honoring his exceptional work as a performer, writer, and producer. From Wayne to Austin to Shrek, Mike Myers has shaped the face of comedy with his bold characters, wild imagination, and genuine love for storytelling. He's not just a funny guy, he's a one-man comedy empire whose legacy continues to inspire new generations of fans and entertainers around the world. The duo have not ceased in bringing laughter to the faces of many Americans for decades. Are they able to uphold the legacy till date, despite the changes in generation, technology, age, and other? Let's find out the aftermath of these legends, from sketch comedy legends to silent strangers. Once upon a time in the world of comedy, 2 names stood tall: Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. These weren't just men who made people laugh, they were legends, larger than life. Together, they didn't just perform skits, they shaped a generation's sense of humor. And at the heart of their success was one unforgettable creation, Wayne's World. It started as a quirky sketch on Saturday Night Live, but it quickly grew into something bigger than anyone expected. With Myers as Wayne and Carvey as his sidekick Garth, the two created a strange, hilarious, and somehow relatable world. Their chemistry was lightning in a bottle. Every line landed, every glance, every laugh. It all felt so natural. It was as if they were lifelong friends who knew what the other was thinking before a word was spoken. Together, they were magic. But like many great duos, what we saw on screen was only part of the story. Behind the scenes, away from the bright studio lights and cheering fans, things were not always so perfect. Carvey once said they were like brothers, and they were, just not the kind that always sees eye to eye. Their relationship had warmth, yes, but it also had silence, tension, and invisible walls built up over time. At the beginning, there was only admiration. Carvey was already a well-established name on SNL, known for his uncanny impressions and quick wit. Myers, on the other hand, was new, driven, and bubbling with creative energy. When Myers pitched Wayne's World, it was his baby. But when Carvey stepped in as the awkward, lovable Garth, the sketch exploded. It wasn't just funny, it was iconic. Party on, Wayne! Party on, Garth! It became a cultural anthem, but success, as often happens, brought complications. As the sketch evolved into a full-blown movie franchise, something shifted. Myers began to take more creative control, and while Carvey was still essential to the duo, he started to feel like he was fading into the background. It was subtle at first, a missed credit here, a sidelined idea there, but it added up. Carvey, ever the professional, didn't quit. He kept showing up, kept doing his part. He smiled, he performed, he helped make the scripts better. But behind the curtain, a quiet resentment began to brew. The friendship that had seemed so genuine on screen started to feel like, well, just another performance. Then came Austin Powers. This was a whole new chapter for Myers, a mega hit full of eccentric characters and outrageous humor. It was wild, original, and unforgettable. But to Carvey, one character didn't feel so original. Dr. Evil, the odd voice, the pinky gesture, the mannerisms, it all felt eerily familiar. Too familiar. Carvey believed that Myers had borrowed heavily from a voice he had created himself years earlier. Something unique, something personal. To the world, Dr. Evil was genius. To Carvey, it was a gut punch. And just like that, the silence between them grew louder. Words were few, conversations were awkward or non-existent. What once was a spark of collaboration slowly burned down into quiet disappointment. The trust had been chipped away, bit by bit. Their story isn't just about jokes or sketches. It's about the fragile nature of friendship, especially when fame and ego get in the way. It's about how the people who make us laugh the most can be fighting battles we never see, and how even the most perfect punchlines can hide a whole world of pain behind them. In the end, the tale of Mike Myers and Dana Carvey reminds us that comedy, for all its joy and silliness, often comes from complicated places. And sometimes, the laughter on stage can't drown out the silence off it. What do you think about Mike Myers and Dana Carvey's fractured friendship? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.